Yes, hopefully so. I know I'm putting it on YouTube, so
Okay.
definitely. Okay, I'm here with. I'm sorry. What is your name?
Pastor Jose Velasquez.
Okay. And I stopped because I saw him giving out bread to a lot of the homeless in Hartford. You said you do this in New Britain also?
Yes, I do in New Britain. I have my church in New Britain,
Okay.
40 South Street in New Britain, Connecticut.
Okay.
Iglesia Apostólica Cristiana de Bethsaida. Cristo cuenta contigo.
Okay.
Una iglesia en Spanish. Yeah, I hope you everybody. Top and Shop give me donation.
Oh
For
wow.
help
Okay.
you people homeless. And I do it every Sunday, 8 to 10 o'clock. I give you people when I'm set up in New Britain, I come in Hartford. Help you people.
Okay.
People got hungry, and the very hungry he got. And after that, I give you the food, but he need it. He need it.
Uh
You
huh.
know, I got so many people, so many family outside. And what happened in the church?
Right.
What the
Right.
church doing with the people outside homeless? He
Mhm.
needed help.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
God come with you, but the people have to work for the people outside. You
Uh huh.
know, the people in the
Absolutely.
church, he know
There's
the church,
homelessness. Right.
the
Correct.
homeless. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people eating where you throw away leftover and then don't turn. You know,
Right.
the food you
What your
throw away.
waste exactly you could be feeding someone with. I get it.
Yeah, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I just saw you doing it and I'm like, wow, I'm doing an interview and I didn't even think to bring something, so I feel bad myself. But no, that's a great thing that you're doing. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, you said you do this every Sunday?
every Sunday. Yeah,
Okay, from 8 to 10 in New Britain and in Hartford.
yes.
Where do you do it in New Britain?
I do it in Lafayette,
Lafayette
Lafayette and Rita.
and New Britain.
Yeah,
Okay, and you do it here at Main Street in Hartford.
yeah.
Okay. Nice. Thanks. Nice to
God
meet you.
bless you
God
and
bless
thank
you
you.
also.
God
Okay.
bless you.
Good thing. Thank
Yeah,
you.
God bless.
With that. Okay, I'm here with Jose. Jose is part of the. I'm sorry. What's the name of the shelter?
South Park.
South Park Inn. All right. How did you hear about the place or get involved with entry, if you will? How do you get in to the shelter?
There's a couple different ways. The most, well, the way you're supposed to go in is you gotta actually call 211. Let them know your situation, and they'll provide you with a list of shelters that are available or that have beds, and you could choose that way. I actually went into Officer Barrett's office I would say afternoon, maybe around 1 o'clock, trying to get some clothes because I just recently got out of jail. I didn't have anything, and I was just trying to get some help. And I was letting him know where I was staying. I was actually staying in the warm shelter at the time, and
Okay.
he took. He actually had said, "Hey, well, you need a place to stay, a permanent place to stay right now, because warm shelter was about to close." And he told me, "Hey, I'm faster than 211. I skipped the whole process." He actually made a couple phone calls and got me a shelter that same day. I didn't have to call 211 or go through the waiting process. Because normally you call 211 and they schedule you an intake at the Mercy House, which is like the central location for all the shelters.
Oh,
And from there, they grant you out to one of the shelters.
oh,
So I got to skip all that, thank God. I had the shelter one day.
got him. Entry.
To Officer
Okay,
Barrett.
interest. Oh, okay. So, and that's Officer Barrett at the Harvard Police
No, actually, his office is at City Hall.
City Hall.
Yeah,
Oh,
he hangs
okay.
out there most of the day. I'm sure he works in the police department somewhere in Hartford, but most of his time is spent in City Hall.
All right. And how long have you been at? I'm sorry. What's the name of it again?
South Park Inn?
South Park Inn. How long have you been a part of the South Park Inn?
I've been there about 2.5 weeks now.
Oh,
3
okay.
weeks.
Not a long time. And you said that. I'm sorry. You said that there are programs that they have that help people gain permanent residence and any benefits that they may have or may need. I'm sorry, benefits they may need as far as medical and cash assistance. There are
Yes.
programs there.
Um, they do have the assisted living and the transitional living program, TLP.
Okay.
I'm a veteran, so once a week the representatives from the VA come on Wednesdays about from 1 to 2. They come by and they have three different people at the desk. One to help you out with jobs, help build a resume and whatnot.
Okay.
One to help you out with housing, and one to help you out with any type of medical, cash assistance benefits, anything you might need that you haven't received yet,
Received.
or to help you fill the right paperwork out so you can go about receiving that
To get into the program.
yeah.
And are there any requirements as far as you being a veteran? I know you mentioned earlier that uh, there was a first level, if you will, to the end. I'm sorry,
Yes.
to the end, and people that stay on the first level have to leave during the day.
Yeah.
How does that process work? I mean, what times are you expected to be in? What times are you expected to be out? Is it for everyone, or does some people get to stay? How does that work?
Well, for people that aren't veterans, they go to the shelter, and I guess you would say regular civilians. They wake up at 6 o'clock. You get your wake up call at 6, and you get breakfast. Then you got until 8 o'clock. Get ready, get your things together. I should say 7 because at 7 you gotta do your morning chores. Morning chores roll around, and then you got from 7 to 8 to get your chores done. Watch the news if you want to watch the news, and then at 8 o'clock, they expect everyone to be all ready and out the shelter by 8 o'clock.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And they do that so you can go try to find a job. So make sure you don't hang around all day and be lazy trying to get you motivated. I'm
Okay.
part of the TLP program, Transitional Living Program, for
Okay.
being a veteran, and they bring us to the second floor. It's a little better. You don't get the morning wake up call, but they expect you to do things on your own. They treat you like not better per se, but they expect you to do. They would expect you to be more responsible to go about your business,
Right.
go out, get a job, be motivated, things of that nature. So they don't go waking you up. If you don't have any appointments that day, you don't have anything to do, you can stay inside the shelter. You don't have to be out on the street all day trying to find things that do to occupy your time, like just hang out in the library and whatnot. You can actually they have computers upstairs that you can use, look for job. But yeah, it's a lot better living up on the second floor. I feel bad for the guys downstairs though because I go out and get fresh air whenever I want, and they are forced to stay inside in the evenings, as opposed to being able to go out and do it. I mean, it's not jail and it's not a hotel room, but you would expect that you can just walk outside if you wanted to walk outside, get some fresh air. Not necessarily smoke cigarettes, because I know a lot of people smoke cigarettes, but
Right.
yeah, it's not
You have more leeway to do what you want to do, if you will.
exactly. Yeah.
As far as the requirements for being on the second floor or having the privilege of being on the second floor, I mean, you just sign up, or you have to be there for a while, or
Well, the
is
way I
it
got in is
someone
from
you
being
know.
the way I got in is for being a veteran because they have the veterans coming from VA. They work specifically with us to try to provide us with housing. So, being in the TLP program, transitional living, they want you to be as if you lived in your own apartment, trying to as opposed to living in a shelter, living on your own, having the
Okay.
responsibility of living on your
Oh,
own. and
good.
whatnot.
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
but yeah, you don't necessarily have to be there for any specific amount of time. I just so happened I was there for about 4 days because they come every Wednesday. Every Wednesday they come. Any veterans that are new there, like I was new during that week, they try to move them upstairs if there's bed availability. If there's not bed availability, you're stuck downstairs until a bed opens up, which it could take maybe a week, 2 weeks, depending on until someone transitions out. But yeah, there's no
time
real,
frame?
no real time frame that you would have to wait there to get transferred upstairs. You just have to wait for an open bed, which could be a day, 2 weeks, a month.
And as far as the programs they provide for having you guys find housing, um, what is that like, and what is the process? How, I mean, do the VA guys that come on Wednesdays, they try to set you up, or is it the shelter that's trying to set you up?
or I mean, some state agencies that may come, or is it just a living situation where they provide, I guess, funding for you to move out to an apartment, or is the apartment uh, uh, taken care of as far as payment and things like that? Because they know that some people are working, some aren't working. Yeah, just a little more background information.
From what I was told, they provide your security deposit and your first month's rent, but they also want you to have a proof of income. So I'm working with a guy,
Okay.
Joshua from CRT, and he's actually helping me right now. My problem is I have to get a job first, so that way I can have a proof of income, and then once I get that proof of income, then I'll be very. It could happen if I get it quickly within a month. I can have my own place.
Oh, wow, okay.
They try to move you out quickly, try to get you on your own into a place. Especially being a veteran, they really work with the veterans, try to get them on their feet again. They work well with us. So I'm very grateful to have this opportunity.
Um, I'm sorry for viewers. Um, if you don't mind, maybe you could give us a little background information on, I guess, your situation and how you got into, I per se being homeless initially in the first place. I'm sure a lot of people want to know, cause there's a lot of negative connotation that comes with it. Oh, people they don't want to work, they don't want to do this, you're only homeless because you want to be, and I know so far from a lot of people that I've come into contact with, it's not that way at all. Some people may have family, some people don't have family. It could be harder for others to find and keep or maintain employment. Um, there's a lot of different reasons people do become homeless. If you would, could you elaborate a little bit on your own situation, if you don't mind?
Yeah, no problem. Well, my situation is a little bit different. I was living in an apartment with my ex-girlfriend. We were living together, and our lease had expired about a year and a half ago. Our lease expired, and when our lease expired, her parents said, "Hey," or her father said, "Hey, come live with us. Save some money to buy a house, put some money away because we were living kind of large. We had an expensive rent, and things. I mean, we were able to save a little bit of money, but it seemed like once we got a little bit of money saved up, something went wrong. We had to spend a few $1,000s. So he said, "Come live with us, save some money, and yeah, so you guys could buy a house, throw a down payment on a house." And we moved. We were there for a few months, and things didn't go too well. He kept telling us how to raise our children, like what they could eat at certain times, when they had to go to bed, how I bathed them because they were females. He didn't agree with me giving them baths. And one night I got into an argument with him. I mean, and it wasn't physical. It was mostly it was verbal argument. But I had enough. I ended up leaving. I said I couldn't take it anymore. It was driving me crazy. I mean, I should have been more humble and stuck around, but it was a really bad argument, and we would have probably got physical had I stuck around. You know what I mean? So I left, and when I left, I basically had nowhere to go. I was on the streets, living out of a car for a little while, and I was in and out of shelters. I moved to Springfield. I was staying in a shelter there, and I had gotten a job in Springfield. And when I got a job, I was so busy that I missed a court date I had in Connecticut, and I came back to Connecticut, got pulled over for normal. I forget where I think I ran a stop sign or something like that. But got pulled over, and the cops didn't have a warrant for missing a court date. So
Basically, to appear.
I ended up going to jail for a few months, and I got out. And when I got out, my girlfriend was really mad at me because I hadn't talked to her for a little while before I got arrested. Probably went like a month without talking to her. So she was upset with me. And, we broke up. Actually, we broke up. And I was staying at right when I got out of jail. I just got out of jail a little while ago, maybe about a month ago. I was staying at the Women's Center, and from the Women's Center, I talked to Officer Barrett. He got me in the shelter in South Park.
South Park and
Yeah. It's been a crazy year and a half. I didn't know. There's a lot of reasons why people do go homeless, but it just so happens that I could have made some better choices, and I wouldn't have been in this scenario. But yeah, it's been a rough year.
I can imagine. Well, I can only imagine. Um. Okay. As far as unemployed, I'm sorry. How long have you been unemployed? I know you said you had a job in Springfield. With the programs that they provide down at the South Park Inn, would you say it's easier to obtain employment, or it's just the same? I mean, you're just basically a free for all out on your own to find your own job. Do they have agencies that maybe a temp service or anything they connect you with? Anything like that?
From my experience, it seems like they want me to do everything on my own. They gave you an analysis when you first get in, like to see how stable you are mentally and whatnot. And based on my score, they told me I was good. They weren't gonna help me out too much on getting a job. They'd expect me to be able to do it, but there's
It's got to be difficult. I mean, not having transportation, trying to get
yes.
back and forth. I mean, every job isn't right around the corner from the shelter or the inn. I mean,
The good part is they do provide you with bus passes for your to go into like interviews and whatnot. They do help you out with bus
okay.
passes. But yeah, it is really hard right now because I have to schedule everything on my own. And right now, I don't have anything. Getting out of jail, before I went to jail, I had all my stuff, but I got lost in transition from getting arrested, police taking my stuff, and me getting out of jail. All my stuff is gone now. So now I have to
Wow.
start over from scratch,
Yeah.
and I can't even check my email without a telephone because
Right.
I've created about 20 different emails, and every time I go to create an email, they're like, "Oh, there's been suspicious activity." Just because I went to go email an employer and go log back in, now I gotta provide a phone number, and I don't have a phone, so I'm like stuck. I'm like, what the heck do I do? So it's gonna be a little while. I gotta now try to go get an ID so I can at least go get a state phone because I don't have any income to buy a phone. So it's gonna be a process for me, but yeah, I'm trying.
Even being at the shelter, they don't provide you. Being that you're in the shelter, they wouldn't provide you with access to getting ID or access to getting the state phone, if you will. I think they call them the Obama phones. But yeah, they wouldn't provide access for you to get the state phone so that you might be able to have a number so that employers might be able to call, or the employers just call the end.
Well, I can give them. If I do get in contact with an employer, I can give them the office number. It's 860-724 number to get a hold of me and they leave a message. As far as working with the Obama phone company, the Assurance Wireless, I believe it is, they don't really help work with that, work with them per se, but they will help me get my identification and all the other documents I need to get the state ID. So now I'm working. I gotta wait till Monday morning to get a hold of my counselor and let her know my situation because I just started filling out jobs. I attended a job fair, Rensselaer Field. They had a job fair for veterans, and there was over 150 employers there. So though I got about 30 different applications or websites to go visit, but I can't fill any of them out until I get some kind of.
ID or something.
Well, I need a phone, an actual
Oh,
cell phone
yeah.
to actually have the email. It's really crazy. Really
Right.
crazy.
For them to leave a message or tell you that okay, we've gone past the application process and now we want to set up an interview or whatever have you. You can't get any messages.
Well, not
Pretty much.
necessarily that part. It's more the actual email account, like actual Gmail.
Uh-huh.
I go to set up an account, and when I go to set up my account, I create an account, and I go to email the employer. Now go to send, and when I hit send, I have to go log back in. It says you have to type in your email or your password
Yeah.
to verify that it's you. So I go to type in the password, and when I type in the
okay.
password, it
Yeah.
says there's been suspicious activity on this account because of all the back and forth from
Logging in and
Craigslist and Gmail going back and forth. There's been some suspicious activity, so now they're asking you to provide a telephone number that they can text
Verify. Yeah.
to verify that it's actually you. And that's where I get messed up with having the actual cell phone. Not having the cell phone, I need to get the cell phone so I can actually email these these
And-
job employers.
Yep.
But otherwise, if I were able to get a hold of an employer, though, they can actually contact me at the end just by leaving me a simple
A simple message.
message with one of the secretaries.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can say that at least is a decent service.
Yes.
At least they're able to leave you a message. As far as that goes, with callback and trying to obtain employment. I'm sorry. If you were to obtain employment, say, we'll just say Town Fair Tire, if you will, and they want to set up an interview with you, they can call the inn and leave a message saying, okay, I want Jose to call back. He pretty much got the job. He just needs to come in to finish up a second interview.
Yes, sir.
In that way.
Yep.
All right. After leaving or after certain time that you guys are expected out, how do you fill up your day, say on the weekends when most employers aren't looking for people to walk through the door and say, hey, I need a job. How do you fill up your time during the day that way?
Weekends are a little tougher because there aren't many businesses open. But most of the time, I'll go right across the street. The Mercy House is right across the street. They have breakfast. Saturdays from 8 to 9. Sundays, I do believe it's from 9 to 10. I'm not quite sure. I do believe it is a little bit later on Sundays, more of a brunch. It's an extra brunch on Sundays. But I go there for about an hour, try to eat as much as I can, hang out, get seconds, just to kill some time. And then from there, I try to go to the library. Hang out in the library for a little bit. If not, I'll go to the shopping plaza, browse around there. Maybe just me run into some people that I knew from long ago, hang out for, if I run into them on the street, hang out with them for a little while, talk.
Just kill time. Okay.
Just kill time all day. Stay out of trouble. I'm trying to keep my nose clean. I just got out of jail, so right now I'm in a good situation. I don't have any warrants or anything. I don't have any problems, no legal problems, so I want to keep it that way. I'm trying to hang out with the right crowd.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. Now, as far as it goes, is there a maximum limit of time that you can be in the shelter, or that they set a time frame on what if you haven't obtained employment in let's say the given 3 months, will they extend that courtesy to you as far as, okay, look, he's gone out, he's tried to obtain employment, he has not been successful, we're going to give you an extra month to stay here and continue your faithful efforts?
I think the normal amount of time you're allowed to stay there is 3 months. They will extend it though. From what I've seen, they let you stay there. There's no set period amount of time as long for you to stay there. I know a guy right now that's been living there 8 months, and it's just because he does have a job. It's not a high paying job, but he's working. He's trying to
Better himself.
exactly better himself, and he's been doing the right things, taking the right steps. So he's been there 8 months, and they haven't told him to leave. So I'm thinking there is no actual set period of time, as long as you're doing the right things to take the right steps to move forward with your life. They're not going to kick you out onto the street. I do believe that's how it works. But yeah, from what I've heard, it's been 3 months. That's more of a myth, I would say, because they're not. I don't think they're going to kick you out as long as you're making the right steps and not being lazy and just hanging out all day and not getting things accomplished.
Okay, not trying to progress. Okay. It's just trying to slip my mind around. And as far as it goes, rules for the shelter. I do believe you mentioned, if say if you're not there by a certain time, do they give you a grace period as far as coming in, or okay, if you're supposed to be there at 8 o'clock, you come in at 8:15, and it's not due to work, do they still allow you in, or do you know, say, oh, okay, well, you missed your bed for the night. I mean, how does that
Well, they expect you to be back between 5 and 6. At 5 o'clock, they open the doors.
work?
They open the doors for. Actually, I should say this is for the people that live on the first floor. Me being on the second floor, part of the TLP program, they actually extended our curfew to midnight, so they allow us to come back by midnight. There's
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Rich, Rich Hitler Productions, blackpublicmedia.org. Hunger and homelessness is a problem for too many families in our community. Over the past few weeks, I've been fortunate enough to meet with a few men and women of all races, all walks of life who struggle to survive. To find out what you can do to help, go to blackpublicmedia.org or Facebook Homeless CT. In a moment, I'll be showing it'll pop up with a couple of shelters and food providers. Sorry about that. Food providers, where people who prepare the public can go to eat. At any rate, thanks for tuning in. Later. That's it.
Dear God, I'm writing this correspondence to ask for forgiveness. I done my share of sin, and the Lord is my witness. So many people out here struggle with poverty and sickness. It's a wonder why we labeled American victims.